how's it going today? I hope everyone is well. A special welcome to the CUSP signs. So if you are kind of in between two zodiac signs when it comes to your sun sign, that means you are on the cusp. And that means that you tend to embody the characteristics and tendencies of the two signs that you are kind of on the border of. And this video is dedicated to you. So if you are a cusp sign, you are someone who was born perhaps on the day of the boundary between two signs or around that time, because give or take a few days, you're still belonging to that category. You're still being influenced by the energy of both signs. So this reading is going to be for you. I'm going to draw one card for each cusp, and I'm going to explain, or try to explain, how this in-betweenness might influence you and your personality. And please don't forget that if you're interested in getting a birth chart analysis, you can always email me or join my Patreon or PayPal me. If we do a birth chart tarot reading, it's always a more accurate way of personality assessment than these general readings, but I hope you're still going to be able to take something away from it. So we are going to start with the Leo-Virgo cusp, because it's the 24th. Is it the 24th? No, it's the 25th of August today. So we are in kind of that time period when you guys have your birthday. So happy birthday to you. And let me just start by shuffling the cards a little bit. And so Leo is a fire sign, and Virgo is an earth sign, and they could not be more opposite from one another. Leo is very expressive, enjoys being in the spotlight, enjoys the attention, while Virgo tends to be more humble and wants to stay in the background. What they share, the common personality traits between these two signs, is a sort of perfectionism. Leo has very high expectations for themselves, and so does Virgo. So if you are born on the cusp of Leo and Virgo, this personality characteristic is especially strong. So you tend to be more critical of yourself, and if you're born closer to the Virgo side, then you are also critical of others. Leo tends to be more self-obsessed and gives less attention to what other people are doing, so a lot of the criticism and the expectations are turned inward. But so anyway, there's a tendency to be a perfectionist, and Virgo is adding a lot of interest in detail to Leo's more extravagant and generous personality. So if you are born on the cusp, that means that you tend to be, if you are a Leo born close to the Virgo side, then you are a Leo who is more interested in analyzing things and getting to the bottom of things and being very factual and rational. While if you're a Virgo born close to Leo's influence, then you are more expressive and outgoing than a regular Virgo would be. So let's see what the tarot would like to tell you guys. All right, so we have an earth sign, and that is indication that Virgo's presence is stronger. Well, that's no surprise since we have already entered the time of Virgo. And this is the Seven of Pentacles, and that is a card of frustration. So what you guys are facing right now might be a little disheartening, even though you tried your best and you put a lot of effort into something. Things still seem to not be going the way you want them to be. So this is a card to remind you and to invite you to practice patience. There's nothing you can actively do to change the situation right now. The only thing that is helping is compassion towards yourself and others and patience. You have already sown the seeds, and now you just have to wait for them to grow into plants. All right. The next CUSP group is Virgo-Libra. And as I said, Virgo is an earth sign, Libra is an air sign, and Virgo has this very strong mercurial energy. It's almost like the Gemini of earth signs, which sounds kind of goofy, but there's a strong Mercury influence. So Virgo likes to take things apart and likes to think about events and processes in an analytical way. So Virgo likes to break it down. And Libra is very similar in this aspect. So if you're born on the cusp of Virgo and Libra, that means that you have a very strong intellectual desire to simplify things and to understand them that way. So you want to systematically understand what's going on around you, within you, with other people. You have a very systematic approach. And while Virgo sometimes tends to be a little too critical, Libra is taking off the edge. So Libra has this desire to create harmony and peace. And if you are a Virgo born close to Libra, then you will definitely notice that you are less judgmental and less harsh in your speech and your behavior than other Virgos would be. So you're still noticing the flaws and imperfections of others, but you're trying to work around it. Libra is generating this strong desire to want to cooperate with others. And so you're willing to overlook other people's faults. If, on the other hand, you're a Libra born close to Virgo, that means that although your first priority is to work with others and to keep the peace and to mediate, you're not delusional. So you're one of those Libras that is very down to earth, very realistic in their expectations of others. So you're not surprised if someone disappoints you. Libra sometimes tends to be a little more idealistic, and they tend to get shocked and disappointed when other people surprise them with their nasty ways. Not you, however, because Virgo's influence is making you acutely aware of other people's shortcomings. So you're not as shocked when something goes wrong. So let's see what the tarot would like to tell you guys. And we have the 10 of Wands for you. The 10 of Wands is a sign that you are spreading yourself thin a little bit. You're taking on more than you can chew. And that those high expectations that Virgo represents are turned totally inward. So you have extremely high standards of how things should be done. But instead of criticizing others or trying to look for faults in other people, you're turning this judgmental energy inward, and you're pushing yourself and you're pushing yourself and you're burning yourself out. So the 10 of Wands is asking you to reevaluate your work life, especially, or what you're doing for other people, and how you're using your energies, because it seems like you're running around and you're trying to do everything for everybody, which is not a good strategy, because you're gonna eventually burn yourself out. So that's the message for you. Let's move on to the next CUSP sign, which is Libra and Scorpio. Now, Libra, as I said before, is an air sign and is a seeker of harmony, while Scorpio is an intense water sign and is a seeker of truth. So there's a tension between these two signs that is presented in the personality in various ways. You can be a little more dramatic if you're a Libra being influenced by Scorpio. You tend to be more dramatic, more confrontational than other Libras, and more interested in in pursuing the desire for fairness than other Libras are. Libra has a very strong sense of justice. And when that sense of justice meets the vindictiveness of Scorpio, then you have a character who will not stay silent, who will not keep their head down when they see something out of place. So a more confrontational character is created. And if you're a Scorpio born close to Libra, that makes you a little more agreeable, actually. So even though you still have your Scorpio aggressiveness, so to say, so your incredible persistence to mold the world into what you think is right. And so you have this very strong desire to teach people how to live and how to function in the world. But this is paired with or expressed through Libra's more organized or more structured air-based ways. So it makes you less volatile and more organized. And so what you're noticing about the world and what you see going wrong can be communicated to the world in a clear and concise way if you are born close to Libra. So that certainly helps. If you want to be an advocate or an activist of some kind, many people born on this cusp are feeling drawn to social issues and topics, and they want to express their opinions. So let's see what the tarot has to say for you guys. And incredibly, we have justice. So justice is a card of karma. So whenever you're looking for the truth, which is your main concern when you're a Libra, Scorpio, cusp sign. So in your quest for trying to find out what is right from wrong and how people can live a morally fulfilling life and how you can do that. So you're interested in not just teaching and educating people about how that can be done, but you're also interested in the answers so that you can apply them to yourself. And in this quest, your biggest challenge is accepting the intricacies and incomprehensibleness of karma or mazal, or however you want to call it, of fate, the universe. Sometimes things don't work out in a way that would make sense from our human perspective. And it is still fair and still just because we cannot see the underlying mechanisms, the underlying principle, the divine principle of justice, which should be the highest order or the highest priority in your quest. So don't forget that sometimes when it seems like injustice is being done, it seems like something extremely wrong is happening. Don't forget that we don't know everything. We don't see the full picture. We as humans don't know what is good for us. So just, if there's something that you cannot change at the moment, just respect the fact that you don't know if it is happening for a reason. It probably is. So don't try to run against the wall trying to change something that is not changeable. But on the other hand, be willing to work with fate and be an agent of justice when you can have an impact and you can make a difference. But sometimes you can't. And although that creates a sense of disappointment and maybe even make you depressed, don't forget that you might not be aware of how those events and how those consequences play into the grand scheme of things. So all is well. And the only thing that you can do is you can try to make an effort to serve justice as you can, as much as you can. All right, the next cusp sign is Scorpio and Sagittarius. It's sometimes called the cusp of revolution. So, Scorpio, being the serious and solemn water sign that it is, has a tendency for depression, and it's more working on the level of emotions rather than actions. However, when it meets the galvanizing influence of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, that can lead to an explosive personality that is a lot less pessimistic and gloomy than Scorpio can be sometimes. So Sagittarius is an immensely positive influence on Scorpio's gloomy outlook and pessimistic disposition. So when Scorpio meets Sagittarius, there's a strong divine connection, because Scorpio sees through a lot of the BS that is being thrown at us on a level of society. And Sagittarius is very much aware of how broken a lot of the things are, but it does not dishearten them as much as it might Scorpio. So you have a sign, if you are on the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius, you have a personality that is incredibly driven because of the fire, the fierceness of Sagittarius, but is also very clever very intuitive, and is very sensitive to lies and health truths that are being spread in society, especially nowadays. But probably it has always been the same, probably. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is these types are natural investigators because they have the relentlessness and the intuitive nature of Scorpio, but they also have the holistic approach of Sagittarius, the desire to improve things, the constant desire for new goals and new heights and growth and development. Sagittarius is incredibly motivated to see, to experience this moment of breaking free from the shackles of society. So Sagittarius is very driven to change things for the better and to liberate the self. So if you are a Scorpio born with a strong Sagittarius influence, that makes you more empathetic, more humanistic, more open to understanding where people are coming from, and less grumpy. So these people, these Scorpios tend to be less, less unpleasant, because sometimes Scorpios can be a little harsh, a little cynical. So the cynicism that Scorpio sometimes has is softened by Sagittarius's humanitarian approach. If you're a Sagittarius born with a strong Scorpio influence, that makes you less naive, because Sagittarius can be a little too silly, too naive, too trusting of other people. But being born closer to Scorpio makes you more cautious and more interested in delving deep into spiritual topics. So let's see what the tarot would like to tell you now. And we have the Emperor for you. The Emperor is a major arcana card, and it's about discipline and structure. So this card is telling you that everything that you want to see happen in your life is possible. Everything that you would like to make happen can be done. But you need to be a little more strict to yourself, more disciplined, more organized. So the idea is to be kind of like a father figure to yourself, and making sure that you are not slacking. So you need to control yourself in order to have better results. You need to make sure that you yourself are the authority for yourself, because, like I said, this is the cusp of rebellion. And so Scorpio and Sagittarius, they are both not doing well with respecting higher ups. So you need to be an authentic and respectable authority to yourself. And you need to make sure that there are boundaries and rules to follow for yourself in order to be more productive. All right, and next up we have Sagittarius and Capricorn. Sagittarius and Capricorn. Well, Sagittarius, as I've said, is a fire sign and tends to be a little less serious and a little more silly and experimental and spontaneous. Capricorn, on the other hand, is an earth sign, and Capricorn believes in gradual, slow and steady progress. So everything, especially when it comes to self-development, Capricorn is very strict and very unforgiving. So what we see here on the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn is the friction between adulthood and childhood. Sagittarius is like the inner child, always playful, imaginative, kind of mischievous, and just very free and wanting to roam free, limitless. However, Capricorn embodies the limitations, how everything in life you have to work for. If you want to make anything happen, you need to be disciplined, and you need to be patient and humble and all of that. So Capricorn believes in that. And so we have a personality who's on the one hand very creative and loves freedom and loves to be unbounded, is also constantly pulled into these patterns of wanting to satisfy a strong inner need for gradual progress, like I said. So there might be a level of self-sabotage going on, especially if you're a Sagittarius born close to Capricorn. So your free and happy-go-lucky energies are strongly influenced by the stern and resilient Capricorn energy, which might be useful if you decide to implement some structures and discipline into your life instead of feeling guilty all the time for not living up to this high ideal that Capricorn represents. So if you can work with this Capricorn influence without being guilted and allowing this melancholy and pessimism rub off on you that Capricorn represents, you can make great use of the Capricorn industrious and hardworking energy. If you're a Capricorn born close to Sagittarius, then that makes you a little less limited in your approach. So it gives you more of the imaginative and free-flowing aspects of Sagittarius, more action-based, more spur-of-the-moment, spontaneous thinking. And so that's actually very good for you. Now let's see what the tarot would like to tell you. And we have the Star for you guys. The Star is actually a wonderful sign. And it's telling me that you are capable of great change. And you have been working on realizing your dreams. And you have been reaching for the stars. So you have some big, big dreams and goals. Very ambitious. And recently it might have seemed like nothing is going to work out, because the star always shows up when it's darkest. So in times of desperation and sadness. But it is a messenger of hope. And since it's a major arcana card, it's also telling me that there's some important life changes about to happen for you. And the work that you have put in is going to pay off. And you will receive some news or some information that is going to make a lot of difference. So hang in there. The positive changes are right around the corner. And you will be rewarded for your hard work. And finally, let's talk about the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius. Capricorn and Aquarius. So that's an interesting combination. Capricorn is an earth sign. Aquarius is an air sign. And if you're born on the cusp between these two signs, then you both have the earthy, practical, pragmatic qualities of Capricorn, and you also have the vision and the wildness and the odd, quirky thinking of Aquarius. So that's a powerful combination if you can find a good balance between the two of them. So if you're a Capricorn born close to Aquarius, that makes your Capricorn nature, which is very dedicated, very hardworking, very determined to reach your goals. It makes that sort of seriousness a little more free thinking. So there's an intellectual freedom and courage in Aquarius that influences your Capricorn ways. And empathy might not be your strong suit, because Capricorn has this tendency to be judgmental of other people and of themselves based on how much work they put in. And if they deem someone to be lazy, then they have no sympathy for them, including themselves. So they can come down on themselves pretty harshly. And Aquarius has a very ambivalent relationship with humanity. It's a love-hate relationship. Aquarius is the odd one out, always. So they just have a kind of an alien aura that makes people confused, and their ideas are out of this world. Sometimes the way they carry themselves, their speech, their behaviors, their mannerisms are very alien to the people around them. And so they might feel like an outcast. And if you're an Aquarius born close to Capricorn, then you might have some resentment about that. You might be drawn to thinking negatively about humanity, and the love-hate relationships turns closer to hate. However, you're a unique thinker, and your approach is to solve problems. So if you're able to put a distance between you and the problem, which is you not being understood by other people at all times, you're able to deal with it in a very effective manner. Let's see what the tarot would like to tell you. And we have the Knight of Pentacles for you. And that is connected with the earth element. And so the message is to keep building your empire, whatever it may be. Keep working on your goals, taking practical steps, and just having a laser focus on what you want to achieve. Do not worry about anything else. Emotions, thoughts, desires, they all come secondary to the work that you're doing. This is a very pragmatic, very earth-based message here to keep going. And even if the motivation to keep going is fluctuating, which is a big problem when it comes to the Knight of Pentacles, you just have to keep going like a robot regardless. So this is just a reminder to not be as concerned with the details of how things are going to work out. Just keep going and keep trying multiple things if necessary until you find the key, the solution, which is one of your strong suits, is finding solutions and thinking outside the box, since you have this strong Aquarius influence. It should not be a problem for you to come up with unique solutions. So keep going and allow your brain to do this almost involuntary brainstorming that it always does, and things will fall into place. I hope that you guys enjoy this reading. Part number 2 is coming soon, and I wish you a good day or a good night. Thank you for watching.